Many men have wasted their lives in the foolish pursuit of Hamunaptra. Most have never returned.
I think you found something.
I call it the doorway to hell.
Oh my God, it does exist. You have unleashed the creature that we have feared for more than 3,000 years. Is the bringer of death. He will never stop.
This summer, Universal Pictures invites you on an extraordinary adventure beyond life and time.
Come on!
Okay, so we're here for I think this is the 23rd, maybe. Or not. I honestly don't know. I've labeled these incorrectly all the time, but it's when I put them up on YouTube, I'll know because they're already labeled. But regardless, we're doing the 1999 Mummy with Brendan Fraser. But now let's get into a little something called Nerd News. You go ahead and start us off, sir.
All right. My nerd news is Bam Margera is suing Jackass. They're suing, I think it's Paramount, for unlawful termination from the movie. Because, I don't know, I think they made all kinds of demands, and, like, he would have to do drug tests all the time, and he would have to, like, do all this above and beyond stuff to prove that he was, like, not doing drugs and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I guess he was doing, or he said he was doing all that, and they still fired him. So, they're going to court. Maybe.
We'll see. He's got to get that money first from, what's his name? Novak for those $10,000 for the chicken Caesar wraps.
I don't know, like, we're big Jackass fans and, like, Viva La Bam fans. Yeah. And it's just sad to see it, like, coming to this.
Yeah.
But...
yeah, I don't know, it's hard for me to, I don't know, like I feel bad for him, and I would obviously want to see him in Jackass, and that's kind of why I'm not, like, super pumped for it, because I'm kind of like, they don't have, like, Ryan Dunn passed away a while back, and, you know, it's older, and it's like, Johnny Knoxville's there, Steve-O's there, but it's like, they don't have Ryan Dunn, they don't have Bam, and, like, Bam's crew, which, like, they had, like, a lot of, you know, like, Rake they would always fuck with and shit, and that kind of stuff. But, like, I don't know, I guess it's hard to, like, say if he's just saying this to try to get back at him or what, because, you know, like, he's on drugs, like, 24/7, so it's like, I mean, it is kind of a little, I thought it was kind of a little hypocritical of them to, like, push him out when back in the day everybody was, like, totally doing drugs all the time. But then again, like, Johnny, or, like, you know, like, I don't know. Like, back in the day, he was, like,
it's ironic because
ripping Novak apart and shit and taking advantage of him hardcore, so it's like nobody's really in the right. I feel like it's like,
I just find it ironic because, like, drugs and booze, like, fueled a lot of their success.
Right. Now it's just like a bunch of old sober idiots doing stunts that, like, nobody wants to see.
I think they're bringing in a lot of, like, the next generation of people who were inspired by Jackass, so it might be interesting to see some new characters.
Deaths.
Huh?
There'll be some deaths, I'm sure.
Yeah, there's some pretty extreme stuff out there, but yeah.
The next generation of people. So I've got a bunch here, but I'm going to let you pick as usual. So, do you want a story about Night of the Living Dead? Do you want a story about Queen? Do you want a story about Quentin Tarantino and an unproduced Star Trek movie?
Let's go with that one.
Okay. I'm like, oops, it was deleted. Looks like we gotta pick MVP, most valuable primate. So yeah, Quentin Tarantino, I guess, back when he was possibly writing a screenplay.
I remember, he said a while back that he wrote, or he had an idea for a Star Trek movie.
And one of the guy that was working with him kind of came out and said that that it involved like time travel, Captain Kirk, and like gangsters at one point. Because a lot of that I think was fueled because he said Quentin Tarantino had him come over to his house, and they just spent like days watching like gangster movies and like crime dramas and stuff like that, and like they were talking about how they would really love to put something like that into like a Star Trek like movie, and he was like, he's like, it'd be its own episode, a very cool episode. There's a little time travel stuff going on. There's all this other stuff, and it's really wild and fun. And I was just like, just something else that like the Godzilla Quentin Tarantino take that probably would have been like really, really cool. Yeah. But it's something we'll never probably get to see.
I don't know.
You never know.
That sounds awesome. I know a lot of people like roll their eyes when Star Trek does time travel stuff, but I always I'm a sucker for any time travel stuff in Star Trek. So
yeah,
I'm sure it would have been great.
It depends. Yeah, I think most of the time it's pretty interesting and stuff. I think the only time I think maybe people were not super huge on it because of all the retcon shit that it always like brings in most of the time. But I don't know. I enjoy it. It's a guilty pleasure. There's never, I don't think there's ever been like a Star Trek episode that was like super like integral due to time travel, but it also depends. I mean, I don't know. It's usually like lighthearted fun, which is a fun thing to see.
Yeah.
So
like Star Trek 2, the one where they go to San Francisco. or
was it Star Trek 5? Yeah, I don't know. So I don't know. Quentin Tarantino always has really good ideas and stuff. So I
wish he wasn't obsessed with retiring.
And feet.
Well, that's
no, actually, I don't care what he's obsessed with feet. He can do whatever the fuck he wants, but yeah, it just sucks because like
each of he's continually made good movies, and he keeps like saying he may do one more and then call it quits because most directors once they get older their work like starts declining. But I mean, so what? Yeah. He's not like most directors. He's one of the cleverest, smartest people out there.
It also depends. I mean, some people think most of his shit sucks anyway, so you're never going to please everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, to me, it's like, do what you want to do. And it's also like, I don't know, like, there's so many people that have said, oh, I'm done, and then like, they're making movies till they die, essentially. You know what I mean? It's like one of those things where, like, if I think like most directors, until you really get to that age where you're like, fuck, I'm too old and I feel like I really don't want to get out of bed to do this kind of shit anymore, like, he'll hopefully always keep wanting to make stuff because he's, like you said, he's got really interesting ideas, and I would love to see that Godzilla and Star Trek movie, but instead we got like boring movies on each behalf. So just like dog shit. So what do you reckon? Oh wait, hold on, I gotta switch the thing. I don't want to fucking
because it's time for recommendation
nation.
Ding ding ding.
What do you recommend?
My recommendation nation for this week is a totally obscure movie that I'd never heard of until recently. But
you're like, I've never even seen it, but I recommend
it's that
it.
Obscure. But like, I'm always amazed that there's movies out there that I can find that like are awesome, or just like new discoveries.
Right.
And this is an action kung fu movie from 1975 called The Man from Hong Kong, and it stars Jimmy Wang Yu, who I guess was like one of the more popular guys in between Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan.
Okay.
But it's a cool action movie, lots of cool stunts. But the coolest part is the villain is played by George Lazenby.
Oh, nice.
And he's like totally hamming it up, but he was like a real martial artist too, so he does all his own fighting.
Oh, that's cool.
And at the end, he even gets lit on fire, and like he did the actual stunt.
Nice.
Which you don't see like actors do that, other than maybe Jackie Chan.
Yeah. Or Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Because he's insane.
Right. But yeah, The Man from Hong Kong. It kind of reminds me of a Bond movie mixed with kung fu and like 70s style.
Nice.
Then it made me think, like, have any of the other Bonds played villains ever? Like, I don't think Sean Connery ever did. I think Pierce Brosnan has some.
Timothy Dalton has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was in Hot Fuzz. He was great in that.
And he was also in who was the guy? Was Timothy? One of the guys played Lucius Malfoy in Harry Potter. Was it Timothy Dalton or was it?
I've never seen those actually.
But I'm trying to think. Yeah, like
Pierce Brosnan was a villain in that Jackie Chan movie, and he was great in that.
Yeah, he's in that. I'm trying to think who else. Let's see.
The Protector.
Daniel Craig he's been a bad guy.
I'm not sure.
I don't really know too many Daniel Craig movies outside of James Bond. Like I know he was in Knives Out and a couple other films, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, I don't know.
I don't think Roger Moore ever played a villain. At least not that I know.
Right? Yeah, I can't. He did a lot of stage stuff too, so he might have on stage, but yeah, because Sean Connery, it was like a lot of like Bond stuff, and then from there he essentially played like the good guy, like James Bond, in essentially every film after that for the most part.
Yeah,
and he was in like, actually, wait, was he the bad guy in Avengers? Like,
I never saw that one actually.
I was just thinking like maybe he was the bad guy in that film. What about Hunt for Red October? Was he in that film or no?
Yeah.
Was he a bad guy or a good guy?
No, he's like we played a Russian, but he like defects to the Americans. So
I'm sure. Yeah, I can't. That's the thing though. Is like, I can't think of anything. You would think he would have been, but I think Bond probably gave him so much sway that it was like, you know, like Schwarzenegger style. It's like, holy shit!
All right,
that was a good pick. So, due to this film, I actually randomly started watching Stargate SG-1, and I've never seen that before. Like I obviously seen the movie a couple times, and I was like, I don't know. I have like a love-hate relationship with Stargate, like the movie, because it's like, I feel like the most interesting part
like
of it is before you go through the gate, and then it's like after that, kind of like. But that one dude is actually in both Stargate and this. The dude that was in Mr. Deeds, the guy that smoked the pipe the whole time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And he ate the Fifth Avenue candy bar, and he was like, this is amazing.
Yeah, he was like, he's like Scooby-Doo's like, It's like, what?
I remember when we saw that movie, like, in the theaters, I never had a Fifth Avenue, and, like, there's so much, like, Fifth Avenue candy, like, product placement.
Yeah.
I was like, I must have one.
Yeah.
And they're, okay.
Yeah, you get one, you're like...
It's like a worse Butterfinger.
Well, it's one of those things where, like, they could have given that guy, like, just, like, a Hershey's plain-ass bar of chocolate, and he would have, like, blew his nut.
Whenever I see that guy, I always think of him in Stargate eating Fifth Avenue.
But, they kind of, like, start to... They take, like, all the same characters are there, but they're played by different people. It's kind of like in The Heat of the Night, where, like, they take... the characters from the movie and like they're played by different people in the show.
That's cool.
But it's yet to be seen if like in the Heat of the Night it gets like really really good. Like to me in the Heat of the Night the show is just as good if not better than the movie. But then again they've got more time to like build on characters and shit. But like the first couple episodes of Stargate so far have been it's interesting because they learn there's other Stargates and stuff, which is the whole point of the thing, but it's like it's very Star Trek-y and stuff like that because their whole thing is like the only two people that actually come back from the original movie are like the kid that like Kurt Russell becomes really close friends with and like the lady that like the nerd like essentially marries or whatever. And they get taken by this other alien race, and then like they don't know where they went. So that's the start of the series. Is like, we'll find you no matter what, you know. So I'm not sure what's gonna happen from there. But it's a fun like start. It's kind of like the start of Voyager, where like you have this thing, and it's like, you know, they got a good setup, and we'll see where it goes from there. So.
Well, if you get hooked, there's like millions of episodes, aren't there?
Yeah,
so
there's SG-1,
got a rabbit hole
there's like Atlantis, which, speaking of Voyager, Robert Picardo's in.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. And I'm sure there's a bunch of other shit, and I think there's like movies, too, that they did.
Cool,
but
man.
it's funny because the guy that like is supposed to be Kurt Russell has the same backstory as him, but he plays him like not as much of an asshole. Because like time's gone on, and by this point he's retired. And, like, he's kind of, like, him and his wife separated. So, like, he's at home, like, looking through a telescope, and, like, this dude comes to recruit him again. But, like, he's not as much of an asshole because time's gone by and stuff. But they do talk about, like, his son and stuff. But,
really?
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's, like, interesting the way that, like, they decide to kind of mellow out the character. He's still kind of an asshole to, like, whenever like someone's a scientist, he's like, he's a fucking nerd. But I'm sure that he's gonna like mellow out as time goes on. But
well, I'm interested to see if you become a huge Stargate series fan.
It would be nice because I think that might take the place of what I want to watch for Star Trek. Because Star Trek is kind of dead to me now.
Yeah, they're blowing it big time.
They're blowing it with the Paramount Plus app. Me. So, I think it's time for the weekly topic.
Cool.
To unbury itself from the sands. The Mummy. Ooh, spooky. Are you too scared to talk about this film?
No, I mean, I can't wait to, first of all, what did you think of Tom Cruise in this movie?
Well, he wasn't in as much as I thought he was going to be. He might have been in a cameo. I don't remember seeing him all that much. So, yeah.
Just kidding. Let's not talk about that one.
Okay. But yeah, I guess we should say that, yeah, this is, like, obviously, like, a remake, like, in name, and kind of, like, in some of the stuff that happens. Like, obviously...
I've never seen the original Mummy.
With Boris Karloff or whatever. I think it's definitely a lot more slow, but, like, in this movie, up until a certain point, they kind of follow the same, like, it's more of, like, a mystery kind of like figuring stuff out, which is kind of nice. You don't see that too often in like movies and action movies. I like the movie, but once again, it was like 2 fucking hours long.
Yeah,
but there were very few parts where I thought it was not, that I thought I was kind of bored. It wasn't. It's not like a movie today where it's 2 hours long and I'm like, fuck, dude, I feel like I've been watching this movie for like 10 years. Yeah. Which is funny because I feel like if they had actually done like the dark universe, quote unquote, starting with like this movie, it probably would have been a huge fucking hit.
Yeah.
Because this or like Dracula Untold, but instead they were like, let's start with like the Tom Cruise one that like nobody wanted to see and nobody gave a fuck because Brendan Fraser was like, it's not going to get any better than the, I don't know. But anyway, like, yeah, like, this is kind of a remake of that, and then, of course, they came out with The Mummy, with Tom Cruise, which was, like, it was literally a Mummy movie, but then Tom Cruise came in, and, like, he has it in his contract that he's able to have creative control for the most part, and he just made it like the Tom Cruise show. Like a Mission Impossible Mummy edition.
Impossible.
Mummy Impossible. So, this movie came out in 1999. And it, like we said, it's a remake of the 1932 film. And it has Brendan Fraser, Rachel Weisz, John Hannah, Kevin J. O'Connor, and Arnold Vosloo, and he plays what's his face, the Imhotep or whatever, Imhotep or the Mummy, which he actually never speaks English in this entire film, which I thought was pretty cool. That like he doesn't come back and just instantly is able to like speak English because like it was I was like, why are they just telling him what they're gonna say like they're playing in front of him? Like, oh, he can't speak English, so he wouldn't fucking know what they're talking about. Like the only time that like he ever really reacts is when that one dude starts speaking. I think it was he held up like what was it like what's it called, like the Jewish star. What is that? The
Star of David.
Yeah, the Star of David, and he starts speaking, like, I don't know if it's like Hebrew or something maybe, and that's when he's just like, oh, I know what he's talking about. But we'll get to that. But okay, so this movie starts off an English librarian named Evelyn Karna becomes interested in starting an archaeological dig at the ancient city of Hamunaptra. I'm gonna fuck all this shit up. She gains the help of Rick O'Connell, Brendan Fraser, after saving him from his death. What Evelyn, her brother Jonathan, and Rick are unaware of is that there's another group of explorers are interested in the same dig. Unfortunately for everyone, this group ends up unleashing a curse which has been laid on the dead high priest Imhotep. Now the mummy is awake. It's going to take a lot more than guns to send him back to where he came from. That was kind of like...
Yeah, it's going to take some bombs, too.
Yeah. And, like, a book that's, like, the good version of the book.
Yeah.
So, SETI, the first thing, I could never mummify you. You sound like Imhotep. Yo, fuck you. That's a ISP, Imhotep sarcophagus posse.
You put way too much thought into that already.
Hell yeah.
Mummies, how do they work?
I know, right?
They're in the air.
I don't want to talk to no fucking archaeologist fucking blinding me and shit.
So I'd never seen this movie. I'd seen a half
Really?
hour of it because I worked at the theater when it came out. And we were allowed to take a half hour break and just go like watch any movie that we wanted. So I remember the half hour that I'd seen. But yeah, I missed it.
When did you go in? Like at the beginning? Or?
It was the part where I remember the first guy gets the scarab. He like gets the scarab under his skin or whatever.
Oh, the execute or the whatever the fuck is the warden or whatever.
Yeah. And I was like, this is gross.
Also, like that guy was like, they were like, he's fat and he smells, and I'm like, okay.
But man, that summer of 1999 was magical for movies because it was like The Mummy, Phantom Menace, Austin Powers 2, Blair Witch Project, South Park the movie, Wild Wild West, American Pie, Deep Blue Sea, like a ton of Iron Giant, Sixth Sense.
Yeah.
Like, it was nuts.
Almost all those are pretty good.
Yeah. This summer we got...
What did you say the third one was?
What?
Out of the ones...
Phantom Menace?
Yeah.
Austin Powers?
Oh, no. Yeah, the Phantom Menace.
Yeah. And The Matrix came out, like, in the spring.
Yeah.
So it was like, we got a ton of good
Yeah, that
movies
was pretty good. That was pretty great, actually. I mean, Austin Powers 2, the worst one, but it was still good.
Yeah.
But
that made me think of, whenever I think of working there, I think of Taco Bell, because that was the fast food place that was closest where we would get lunch.
yeah.
So, what's your go-to Taco Bell menu item? You're like, I wasn't prepared for this kind of intensive question.
I'm like, you put way too much thought into that question. I don't know. I actually, so recently I had Taco Bell, and I hadn't had it for a year because the one that's closest to me, like, they're closed all the time. But generally I would do just like, I don't know, softer, hard tacos. Maybe get like a couple of each, and the cheesy fiesta potatoes are pretty good too. But
Really?
yeah,
I thought this sounded weird, but I may have to try.
it's just like potatoes, like, like fried potatoes with like cheese and sour cream, so it's not anything out of control. It's probably like the tamest thing they have on the menu. Even though by proxy of like if you go to like an actual like Mexican restaurant, like it's pretty chill, like,
Yeah. I'm disappointed that I think I was the only person in the world that liked the Mexican pizza. Which they
No, my dad loved the Mexican pizza. When they got rid of it, my
already.
dad said that he would never eat there again.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm not the only one.
And he never has, so. Yeah, I honestly got it as well. I really liked them. I actually kind of forgot about the Mexican pizza because I haven't eaten there in a year, and before that they took it away, so. Which I don't. That'd be like if McDonald's was like, we're getting rid of, like, the fucking. I don't know, I'm trying to.
Filet of fish.
Yeah, I was about to say that, but I was like, that's about the same. Yeah, which sucks because it's like, I mean, why would you take... I can see if they took something off the menu that wasn't popular, but there's no way in hell that wasn't popular.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's also like, yeah, I don't know. It was just good.
Yeah.
It's just fucking good.
Sorry, I wanted to go down that rabbit hole just because good memories of eating Taco Bell for lunch at the theater and watching The Mummy. Or 30 minutes of The Mummy.
You just watch the same 30 minutes over and over again while you eat Taco Bell.
I did that with Deep Blue Sea.
Get you ready to have the dry boats.
Wet boats. But yeah, I was happy to finally see this because I'd never seen it. I've seen the second one. I remember hating it, but
yeah, I really want to watch the second one, but I haven't seen it in a while.
Over time.
Yeah. That's the thing, is there's a lot of movies that like I shit on and remember hating, but then again I could have just really not liked it at the moment. It could be better.
Yeah.
But like one of the first effects that was like totally like CG-tastic was like when he tried to resurrect his wife, and it was like Terminator 2 fucking, but not as good.
Yeah, I thought some of the CGI was awful and like PlayStation 1 style, but some of it was like way above average, I'd say. Even for now, like by today's standards.
Yeah, that's actually one of the notes I have here. Is it like as bad as this got? Like it's 1999.
It's a long time ago.
But like, I mean, like when did Jurassic Park come out?
Like 93.
Right, so it's like around this time, this was still acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
But like, there's shit that gets put out that looks way worse than this. Like not all of it. Like some of it, like you said, looks like really unrefined and like, but I mean, yeah, like some of it is like still like looks really really good.
Yeah. Specifically, like the Mummy himself.
Right.
I was
Yeah.
like, wow, this is an impressive effect.
Yeah.
Like I never say that about CGI.
Right. Yeah. Like that and like whenever he would stretch his mouth out was like horrifying.
Yeah.
And I was like,
yeah, I think this must have been the movie that like kicked off that trend, because now in like horror movies that's a standard like.
Yeah, they also do the thing where like the person walks backwards, like upside down, like The Ring or whatever, and it's like, Jesus, dude. But like, yeah, but the effects, were like either like none of them were horrible, but like at the same time, like I think that's because I graded them on a scale as to like back then. Like obviously now they look like shit, but they're not really that bad compared to some of the effects that you see like with some of the movies. Like,
yeah.
So also probably because most of the sets are completely like real sets, like actual places, and then they'll have something they put on top of that, whereas like most times these days sets are fake as fuck.
Yeah,
and then you put
green screen
CG on top of it and you're like, eh. So the only things real on screen are like the people talking. And even that sometimes isn't real. You'll have someone like mocap and it looks like dog shit, and you're like, okay.
So I have a question.
Yes.
After Rachel Weisz like knocks over all the bookshelves, her boss tells her to clean this up. Like, how is she expected to clean that up? Those bookshelves are like 20 feet
Yeah, he also
tall.
says clean this up, and I didn't understand what the fuck else he said. He was like, clean this up, and I was like, huh?
Like, you're gonna need a crane to like lift up those bookshelves, man.
Yeah, that was like
an army.
A classic Indiana Jones, like this, and this very much this movie takes off of that and the serial pulp, like, which is probably why I liked watching it, because it was just fun and stuff, and I feel like that's the problem, is there's not movies anymore that are like that. Like whenever there's a summer blockbuster, it's not like fun, it's like a chore to go see.
Yeah, and there's like
you put this up against something like Space Jam: A New Legacy, or fucking, I don't know, I'm trying to think what else, like, you know what I mean, like obviously
Godzilla versus Kong,
right, and it's like this was fun to watch, and I could watch it again because it was like entertaining, and like there was a good guy and a bad guy to root for, and
yeah, not every character is like a sarcastic, snarky
right
jerk.
Like even Brendan Fraser's character, who's supposed to be like a Han Solo kind of asshole, he becomes like more nice.
Yeah,
and he wasn't even that much of an asshole to begin with. Like, Like,
he's a noble man.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, you're every day. Yeah, I'm like every day. You're right.
Every day and every way.
You will live 100. It's like Jesus. So yeah, I guess before we get too much further, there's that part where like the fucking dudes, like his like priests, are mummified alive in this movie.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, that's got to be one of the worst ways to fucking be, like, to die. Like, can you think of any worse ways to die?
I mean, I hope to be a mummy at some point, but I don't want to be mummified.
You gotta have a kid then. So
isn't that a joke from Indiana Jones? They're always talking about their mommy.
Yeah, and I'm like,
he means mummies.
And I'm like, huh? So I have a list.
Oh no!
Top 10 worst ways to die.
Did you come up with these?
It's like a David Letterman kind of thing.
Let's hear them.
So number 10, being mummified alive. Radiation would be number 9. The goggles, they do nothing. Number 8, sitting through a Rockstar game. This isn't going to be that great, okay? I just came up with this like a couple minutes ago.
I mean, that actually sounds fun in some ways. All right, what's next?
Number 7 would be burning alive.
Yeah.
Number 6, crucifixion, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
5, forced to play another Battle Royale game.
I see you had a hidden agenda here in your top 10.
But don't tell. Number 4, shot in the penis.
People!
Number 3, poisoned slowly.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, actually, before we go any further, have you ever seen one of those things where, like the wife or, like, the husband is, like, slowly poisoning their... That's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's actually where I got that idea from.
Like the Russian politician who drank poison, like, as a protest and instantly died.
Yeah.
Dude, that's hardcore, man.
Yeah. Well, he got his point across.
He did. Or, I don't know if he did or not.
What's he protesting?
I don't know. But
he's like anti-poison. He's like...
He's like, down with all these poisons.
And he's like, a succulent poison. And I was like, eh. Let's just skip to number 1 because my second one sucks. And I would say number 1 worst ways to be tortured to death would be watching the latest entry in the Space Jam franchise on repeat.
Nice. I can't believe you watched that.
Yeah. I didn't watch it in repeat and I didn't die, so.
That's true.
If we're being honest, it was fucking the shits. But if they had, like, stopped it at the first 30 minutes, it probably would have been okay.
You're like, but it was better than Tusk.
No, I mean... yeah, okay.
Yeah, being mummified alive would be pretty harsh.
Yeah. So, Beatles ate some guy alive. The man that you talked... Or no, that was the priest. The Imhotep got fucking eaten alive, which... To me, like, that fucking... I didn't write a note on this, but because I forgot about it, and I just kind of remembered it, but, like... They were like, anyone who comes back will have unlimited strength and life and be invincible after going through, like, the torture they put them through. I'm like, why didn't you just mummify him alive? Like, why would you be like, well, we'll be long dead when it happens, but there is a chance that if he gets brought back, he will fucking be stronger than he was when he was alive. Like, what? I thought that was pretty fucking stupid, man.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know about you, but most people would kill to be treated like a god. just for a moment. Never forget.
Oh my god.
Yeah, what was the deal?
Like, did you think that was weird, or like, just like the?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really get too wrapped up in like the mythology of these. Like, I kind of just gloss over like.
Right, but I mean, like, this is essentially a movie where there are supernatural powers, and they believe in them. So if you believed in them, why would you ever fucking? You know, that's what I'm trying to say. Not that like I wasn't like, okay, fucking this movie sucks now, but like I was like, probably could have left that part out and just been like, due to a fucking weird thing, like, you know, I don't know.
There's a super mummy.
Yeah, I was
just
like,
accept it.
Huh? Yeah, I was like, why?
Did you notice at one point there were dudes walking in giant hamster wheels, and I couldn't figure out why? Did you catch that? They're just like in the background of some scene in the prologue, and they're just like walking. Or no, I think it was after the prologue. I don't remember exactly what it was, but there were definitely dudes like in these giant hamster wheels.
Was this like during like the big fight, like where Brendan Fraser's like in the Foreign Legion?
Yeah, maybe. But I wanted to ask you about that because I couldn't figure out what the purpose was.
I don't remember seeing that at all. Were you watching G-Force or something? So wait, where were they at in the background? Like, what shot? Do you remember?
Yeah, there was like it was a dialogue scene happening.
It was probably between was it between like Brendan Fraser and like the dude that like ran away, like his friend Benny or something?
Yeah, I think it was around that time.
And there were like dudes in the background in balls?
Not balls, but like wheels.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I don't really know what that was about either. But I was picturing legit those big inflatable things that people. I was like, what? My best guess is maybe they were like, those were like something like some sort of machines to. I don't know what the fuck it is.
Either
honestly.
they were being like punished, or they were like making grain or something. It was like,
which would be the same thing.
But yeah.
They're like.
Anyways, I derailed us once again.
I think this whole episode's like been an abortion so far. What
are you talking about?
So, that guy's like talking about how like for 3,000 years men have fought over like this land, but he's saying that like no one knows, like no one knew that the mummies were here and anything was there, and I was like, well then why the fuck would you want to fight over land that like didn't have any water or gas or anything?
And after 3,000 years, you think they may have dug something up?
Right. Yeah, I was kind of like, all I have to say is nuke their ass and take the gas.
Jeez.
Oh, God. Ryan, you always says that. Oh, my God. Or from like freedom fries.
I have a note that I'm pretty proud of. So, did you notice that everyone in this movie dual wields all the time? I was like, what is this, me playing GoldenEye?
Yeah, seriously, dude. Yeah, I did.
It's out of control. I mean, I like it, but I was just like, this is weird.
Yeah, that was I feel like that was a very action movie thing to do around that time. It was like,
yeah. It's like, why don't they just enable big head mode?
Speaking of which, the Mummy, like the the second one, Return of the Mummy, like they did the one after that, like the Emperor's Tomb, but I never saw it. But on the cover, he's holding like two swords.
Ting, ting, ting,
yeah, so I was like, what? But yeah, I don't know. I thought that was funny that you brought that up because,
I mean, I couldn't help but notice because like every scene is just like tons of shooting and everyone has like 2 pistols, 2 shotguns.
Yeah.
Like,
well, there's a part at which like Brendan Fraser like uses his like gun, and then he like with the French Foreign Legion part, and then he like pulls out 2 guns, and then he like has 2 more or something, and I'm like,
it's like the guy in Boondock Saints.
Like this guy had like a shit ton of stuff. Like nobody else had anything. They just had like their one gun.
Yeah.
It's like that guy literally just got fucking sent to the French Foreign Legion, apparently, maybe, because they said he was from America. It's like, what did he do? What did he even do? And then there was the face on the sand, which was like kind of sketchy, but it didn't look horrible. It didn't look too bad. It was just kind of like
that was kind of wasn't that on the poster? Like that's kind of an iconic moment from this movie, I think.
Yeah, that or like there's the one where like Imhotep looks like an idiot and he's like doing all this fake shit while he's controlling like a sandstorm, and like it's like
I was cringing a little bit because like that actor was like doing his best, but like no one could pull off like that ridiculous.
Well, it's also when they cut to like the sand, like he's like smiling, like but the sand is like it's like a cherub face. I'm like, okay, this looks stupid. But yeah, I have to give props to the sets and the way this movie looks. I mean, it looked the part, and
it reminded me of, I think this movie paved the way for like Pirates of the Caribbean, which was another really fun movie. At least the first one before the series, went down the tubes.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, I like just fun adventure movies like this. I mean, it's not trying to be Citizen Kane. It's just trying to be an entertaining.
It's trying to be good.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see in December. You crap all over Citizen Kane.
All the film students are gonna find out where I live and cut my head off. We already talked about the part where she was on the ladder, but that part kind of was like flipping me out because I was like, she was like 20 feet in the air, and I was like, ugh.
Yeah, it was like a Jackie Chan stunt.
Jesus.
Dude. Nice.
But yeah, like the dude from Mr. Deeds, Eric Avari. I had to write him down because he's in this movie, he's in Mr. Deeds, and he's in a bunch of other movies. Like I don't know. Him, and then there's also, like, later on, a guy that was in Jumanji, like the dad from Jumanji, that also plays, like, Van Pelt in Jumanji. That's the dude with the red fez. It's, like, the Egyptologist or whatever. Or Egyptologist, I guess I should say. And then her brother, like, was hiding in a fucking sarcophagus with, like, an actual dead body. Which I was like, huh?
Like, what are you, pranking yourself?
Right! I was like, huh?
It would be horrifying.
And then Brendan Fraser is in jail looking like George of the Jungle.
Yeah.
He was like, I was like, huh? Good God. Yeah, I don't know. Like, there was some parts in this film, like the part where he was about to get hung. And they're like, any last requests? And he's just like, loosen the noose and let me go. And then the guy had to like check with the other dude to see if he's like, no, kill him. And then they actually fucking hang him.
I was pretty shocked by that. I was like, jeez.
Yeah, I was like, I don't remember that
like,
shit.
This is intense.
Yeah, I didn't remember that at all. Like, I thought that they were gonna like save him, but literally like he's choking to death. So they have to like they're waiting for him to die.
His body drop and like,
yeah. His neck
should have snapped.
Yeah, his neck doesn't snap, so they're like, well, we're just going to do it the old-fashioned way, and he's just choking to death in front of everybody, and that's when she, like, makes a plea to, like, save him and shit. So, I was like, the guy, like, fucked up and negotiated himself out of more money like I did that one time. He was like, she's like 30, and he's like 25, and she's like, deal, and he's like, fuck! I was like, a man after my own heart. When they were on the boat and like Benny gets thrown over the edge, he like, I'm pretty sure it's still a person, but it looks like a straight up fucking dummy.
Oh really? Like
he's
a ragdoll.
Nice. Like he's like, I'm like Jesus. Also, did you like notice that like that assassin guy that had that like hook? Look, it was like his sword hand was like flopping like a prop hardcore.
Oh really?
In certain parts,
yeah.
It was like. And I was like,
well, you gotta have safe props.
That's true. Just like Leonardo's sword that like hits the wall in Turtles 1, it's like, and you're like, okay.
Don't look at it.
don't look at it. And then like Michelangelo throws his nunchuck down the sewer. He's like, huh. there's actually only one part in this movie I think that I actually found that was kind of like it seemed like kind of a fuck up. But like, so you remember like when the boat like goes under essentially, and everybody like goes in the water, and then they get out, and they're all like wet. Like in the next scene, they're in dry clothes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, I never noticed stuff like that, but yeah.
It was just so obvious because it was like, it wasn't like, you know, some time had passed. Like literally, they were like you know, their clothes were visibly wet, like at least their pants and all that stuff. And then like the next fucking scene, it's like they're in dry clothes and maybe like one of their person's hair is wet or something. But it's like the continuity. I think for movies, it's kind of hard to keep continuity, like obviously, but like.
A lot of times when they find mistakes, they're like, no one's gonna notice.
Right.
Just it doesn't matter.
But I did.
You're the exception.
And somehow, I didn't get $1 billion for it.
Sometimes continuity errors lead to great scenes, like Dawn of the Dead, because when they're when Roger and what's the other guy's name? I can't remember. Peter are going through the department store, like to get they're making their first run.
Oh yeah.
They realized that like he had his jacket on at the beginning, but didn't at the end.
So they had to film a scene.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's
Is that the screwdriver scene?
The famous screwdriver scene.
Like, fuck, we gotta film a scene between this and that, like how he took his jacket off or put it on or whatever, and it's like, but that's a good idea.
Yeah,
they fixed it, and they weren't wet or dry, or were they? Maybe they pissed their pants. Actually, I lied. There's another scene that they're probably, it's not like a continuity thing, but I thought was kind of weird. Is like when they're on the camels and like everyone's somehow able to sleep on them. I was like, what? How the fuck is that possible?
If you were tired enough, you would.
Yeah, but you'd fall off. There's no fucking way you would stay on a camel.
There's only one way to find out. Let's go.
I'm pretty sure you'd fall off. Unless you were, like, tied in. Like a mummy. Transport those mummies across state lines.
Eastbound and down. Got these mummies trucking.
They're like... It's like, huh? The Mummy Chop Express.
Mummy and the Bandit.
So there's the one dude shows up again later, and he sees Brendan Fraser, and he says something like, "Oh, he's resilient" or whatever. Because I'm like, how the fuck did he see exactly who that was from that fucking far away? He was like, "Bang!" Like fucking eagle eye over here. Fucking bullshit. And then those guys that got like the guys that were digging and they got murked from the sand, the acid or whatever. They were like, "Yo!"
Yeah.
And the fucking Americans were like, "Huh!" I was like, "Holy fuck, what's going on?" That was a great effect.
Huh?
It was scary.
Yeah.
Not too scary because I didn't think it was going to happen to me.
Speaking of great effects, what did you think of like when the scarabs get under people's skin and like crawl around?
It was pretty good. Maybe a little too big, but but it was like it was legit.
Yeah. They had a similar effect in the X-Files movie, I remember.
Yeah.
The first time I'd seen that, I was like,
"Is that with the like the silver or the gray?
Oil,
yeah, the oil stuff. Yeah, that they brought back in the or had in the show. That stuff was like fucking gross. It would like go out in an orifice, and people would be like, "Boom!" I'd be like, "Dude, this is fucking horrendous."
But when that happens to that first dude, I was like, what's more terrifying, this scarab or that dude's body hair?
Do you have a top 10 list of hairiest men? You should.
I'll report back.
Sean Connery would be like top of the list, and Robin Williams.
Yeah,
he's like a fucking monkey, and fucking what's his name? Bob Hoskins.
Yeah,
King Kong. God damn.
Sorry. I mean, I don't have a bunch to say about this movie, but
as far as like hairiest men,
well, Yeah, I do have a lot to say about that.
Hell yeah.
So I just,
That's okay.
it's a fun movie.
I agree. Let's see here. Okay, so when these like desert riders guys like attack the camp, and like one of them runs after like the brother, he like literally runs into the line of fucking fire. Like it's like running after him and that other like Benny or whatever, the guy that's like Brendan Fraser's friend, and it's like going this way, and he's like, "Shit, it's coming after me!" I'm like, okay, fucking dog shit. You also find out that Brendan Fraser's first name is Rick in this movie.
Need more Ricks in movies.
Yeah, just like my pop.
Yeah.
Richard Realm.
Richard Realms. Rick did this.
But yeah, I guess we had talked about it earlier, but like watching this made me wish that they had done more Universal remakes like this and Dracula Untold instead of like, I don't know, trying to play catch up with fucking The New Mummy and all this other bullshit. It's like, I don't know.
They did a couple others in the 90s, like Bram Stoker's Dracula,
right? Yeah,
which is awesome, and the Frankenstein one with Robert De Niro, which is not awesome.
They did Dracula 2000, didn't they? Eventually,
yeah, I never saw that one.
Yeah, I didn't either. The cover looked so stupid. It was like
it looked
the
really generic.
Fangs were like fucking made of like wires or something. But yeah, I remember. And then they did The Invisible Man recently.
Oh, I wanted to talk
which I
about
thought that was kind of interesting because
I thought it was great.
That's, I feel like, the way that they should, like, The Invisible Man's always kind of one of those things where like even the movie back in the day was like a straight up horror film because it's like literally somebody that you can't fucking see them, and like he was fucking with people and he went insane and shit. So it's like, it makes sense for them to do the way they did it. Like, it's also like The Invisible Man. It's like he's like fucking their Superman of like Universal. Right.
He's
like,
not a super god mummy.
Right.
He's just a man.
But it's
Who
like
is that Invisible Man.
But it's also like if you were gonna start a franchise and like you were like, well, fuck, who should be the first person to have a movie out of the Universal fucking monsters? Who the fuck would you have done? The Mummy? Would you have done Invisible Man? Would have done fucking like Dracula, or would have done fucking the Wolfman, or like Frankenstein. I mean, like any of those could have worked, but
I'm really disappointed because at one point John Carpenter was going to do a remake of Creature from the Black
Right,
Lagoon,
yeah.
which would have been amazing.
Well, that's the thing is like any of those, like it could have worked, but it would have been so much easier for them if they had started off safe. Instead, they went straight off with like The Mummy, and it was like that movie wasn't even about like anything interesting. So it's like, I don't know. If they'd done it like this, where at least the characters that were in it that weren't the Mummy were interesting, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, this Mummy is even more interesting than the Mummy they had. And I feel bad for that actress because she's been in other stuff. Like, I think she was in... crap, I can't remember what it was. But, like... Oh, she was in... I'm pretty sure she was in The First Kingsman.
Okay.
Like, as the lady with, like, knife legs or whatever. Like, I'm pretty sure. But, like... But, like, she didn't... Like, if you give your character, like you're not afraid of them and you don't have... They don't say anything. Like, in this movie, like... The Mummy was actually, like, a force to be reckoned with.
Mm-hmm.
It's like... whereas, like... I still haven't seen the new movie, but everything I've seen about it, it's all Tom Cruise. It's like... and he's not as interesting as Brendan Fraser, I'm sorry. Like, Brendan Fraser was just... He's just charismatic, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So... But... I just went through puberty, so... So the dude from Jumanji is like covered in like locusts, and you could tell it was like a thing where he sat down and they just placed like regular bugs on him because they're just trained or whatever bugs, and he's like looks at the camera and he's like, what have we done? And I'm like, huh. And then comes the Scooby-Doo moment of the fucking film where the dude with the glasses drops his glasses like Velma style, and he's like, my glasses, and like the dude, of course, somebody steps on him and he's like, oh.
That would be me if I was in a movie. Like, I'd be the guy who fell down and dropped broke his glasses.
I'm pretty sure you would just keep running. You wouldn't just get on your hands and knees and be like, my glasses. Like, I can't really see shit, but I could see fucking where to go down there. I'm not like, oh, now I'm completely blind. Like, but he says, my eyes. I wondered why he said it in a weird way, but then after that he said he also took his tongue. He was like, my eyes. And I was like, why does he sound like an idiot? And then I was like, oh, wait, he has no tongue. Never mind. So there's an obligatory part where they're all running away, and some random dude that no one's ever seen before, and he has no name, like a red shirt, falls, and like these CG scarabs go over him, and he gets turned into like a skeleton instantly, and it's like a thing of beauty. I was like, dude, this is so good. He's like, I was like, y'all.
Yeah.
Fucking Brendan Fraser's like, I was like, holy fuck, dude. So later on, like just a little bit later, the mummy gets, like after he's gotten his first victim, he is able to he gets more powers, and he starts like casting meteors or something, and fucking they directly land on like multiple people, and as soon as they land on the people, they're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, these fuckers are like legit in fire suits. It was just so ridiculous. And then Benny turned into Renfield from fucking Dracula.
Yeah.
Because he was like...
Did we pass the point where they found the mummy and they're like, this mummy is juicy? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I was like, that's hilarious, and it's just like I like my three ways.
It's also weird. I was like, what?
That cracked me up.
They're like, isn't he extra juicy? And I was like, I mean...
I gotta go to Skyline.
He just looks like a fucking decayed corpse. It's fucking gross.
He was a little moist.
Yeah.
That mummy was moist and juicy.
The fucking mummy. He's just like, oh.
I'll take a three-way juicy.
You want to tell that story now?
Yeah, for any of the buddy boys outside of the Cincinnati area, I'm referencing Skyline Chili, and I'd never heard of this before until just a few years ago when I went to Skyline with a coworker, and he ordered his three-way extra juicy, which basically means like add extra of like the chili water to the three-way, which is the grossest part. Like,
yeah,
you want minimal water.
Whenever they bring out like the three-way, it's like, if anybody doesn't really know what that is, it's like noodles, and then you can, you get chili on it and cheese, and then you can get, that's a three-way. A four-way is with beans or onions, and a five-way is with both beans and onions. And like Matt said, when it comes out, you want to like, essentially what I do is I take that extra plate, that plate they put it on, and I put it onto the bigger plate, and then like drain out the fucking extra, because sometimes it doesn't have a lot, and sometimes there's extra juice. Like, get the fuck out of here with that shit. So I drain it out, and then I go, I eat it. Because but somebody that would want like extra juice is like, he's probably like a fucking serial killer. I mean, I don't know the guy, so I can't really say that, but how much do we really know anybody?
Yeah, true.
Especially when they're ordering juicy mummies. So then we've got the Imhotep ranting rally rave that happens with all the boils and ghouls.
Yeah.
Those dudes, like fucking, he turns all these people into zombies.
I thought that was cool. That was a cool scene. Did we pass the point where Rachel Weisz has like the obligatory drunk scene? It reminded me of...
yeah, we did.
Well, I have a question.
Yeah.
Who was better, Rachel Weisz in this, or Deanna Troi in Star Trek First Contact, when she has the drunk scene?
As far as like... I mean, I'm going to say Rachel Weisz is better actress 100 times. Character still Rachel Weisz. I don't know. I don't want to come off like I hate Marina Sirtis, because she's like... I'm sure she's a very nice person, but... Deanna Troi very early started to become less like that character. It just was Marina Sirtis.
Yeah.
Jonathan Frakes.
She started out as an actual alien, and over time became a human.
Right, and then like Jonathan Frakes is just kind of Jonathan Frakes, but that's all Riker's really ever been for the most part, which is fine. He works out like that. He's their version of Kirk. So,
I do like that scene in First Contact, though. I mean, it's very silly.
It's fine. I mean, but it's yeah.
He like falls over, and Riker's like,
yeah, but it's like you can't like, yeah, it's like, yeah.
Sorry.
No, I agree.
That scene reminded me of that scene in First Contact. So
yes, yeah. I would say with even more at stake. Well, I guess it would probably be about the same, right?
The planet Earth.
The planet Earth, but it's the same for Imhotep. If he got his powers, he would take over. But he probably wouldn't be able to take over the universe or the galaxy.
Yeah.
So.
And eventually the Borg would come and take him over. Assimilate the mummy.
Not if he was there.
Really?
First. Probably not.
You think the mummy could defeat the Borg? That's the nerdiest question I've ever asked.
I don't know. Actually, I guess I didn't really think about it.
Hey guys, do you think the mummy could defeat the Borg? Who would win? Let's just move on.
Okay. So, where the fuck was I last? Oh yeah, so they're the last person that they're supposed to like that he needs before he becomes like whole again is in the back of the car, and they like do nothing to like protect him, and he gets literally pulled off the back of the car by like these people, and I'm like, and they just drive away because like there's really nothing they could do, but like he should have been in the middle of the car, not like the very fucking back. He's just back there like chilling.
Yeah.
Fucking they grab him, and fucking Brendan Fraser's like, well, he's fucked. And I'm like, if you just kept this guy safe, you wouldn't have to worry about fucking all this other bullshit.
Yeah.
But I thought that was kind of a little careless on their part. But what are you gonna do? Also, like the Red Fez guy, the dude that like is I think the last person. Oh no, I think he's officially the last person that he goes after. He like dies for no reason. Like he should have just stayed with them, but he's like out roaming the fucking like streets. Huh. He's like, oh shit, and I'm like, okay, so this is like the obligatory horror scene in a movie where like somebody goes off on their own for no fucking reason. But I like that guy, but he's dead. I don't know if he's dead in real life. I don't think so. So, okay, so this note I don't really understand. Winston, the pilot, reminds of a meal? Oh, that guy reminded me of the dude from the succulent Chinese restaurant. Winston or whatever.
Nice.
He was like looking...
What are the charges?
Yeah, he was looking for a succulent for death. And he got it. I honestly thought that he lived in this movie. I remember there being a part where he comes back, but now he just...
he gets sucked into the sand.
He gets sucked into the sand the way Poe should have in fucking The Force Unleashed, or whatever the fuck it was called. The Force Awakens, because Unleashed is with Starkiller. So at the end of the movie, fucking Brendan Fraser nutshots a mummy.
Oh, I didn't notice that. Nice.
And I didn't understand how that would work, but it was in the movie, nonetheless.
Yeah, I really liked the like as I was watching this movie, I was like, the mummy's cool, but I kind of miss like the classic mummy look. Mm-hmm. And then at the end, like they bring back all the classic mummies, like start attacking.
Yeah.
I was like, this is awesome.
Like one by one.
Yeah. It's like an army of actual mummies.
Of men. Brendan Fraser yells at the mummy guards, and they scream back with wider jaws, and he says, and then like runs off. I thought that was like, was this rehearsed or?
I think they were going for like a Han Solo moment,
right? Yeah,
didn't quite achieve.
It was better.
Ah.
No, I thought it was one of those like funny moments in the movie, but it was kind of like very interesting. Like, this movie never takes itself too seriously, even when there's like a lot of shit at stake. It's like most movies like Indiana Jones or Star Wars, you know, that like at the end of the day for most of these nothing really bad's gonna happen. Like,
yeah, it has a comedic tone,
which is
throughout,
but not like in a bad way. It's not like, I never felt like they took the piss out of fucking, you know, the bad guy. They didn't make fun of him or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
They actually were scared of him. But the freaking mummy at the end when he died was legit. He just like melts into a fucking pit of souls or some shit. I was like, what the fuck?
CGI pit.
CGI shit. So actually, okay, this is probably like never mind, I lied again. I'm a big fucking liar. Just like Jim Carrey on the movie Liar Liar.
Coming to theaters.
On VHS. So Benny's like stealing all this shit, and there's apparently a lever in this fucking pyramid that he puts shit on, and it like self-destructs the pyramid. And I was like thinking to myself, like, when would you ever have a need for that to be a thing?
Well, not only that, but I love in these and like the Indiana Jones movies, like the super complex mechanisms that were created by like ancient peoples.
Right. Well, I also, like, why would you put it on the inside? Like, so that it's like sinks not only the pyramid but like the whole fucking city.
Yeah.
So that would be like if, you know, you had like an alarm system, like ADT, and if somebody broke into your house, instead of it like alerting the cops, it just blew up your house with the intruder and you in it to get rid of the intruder. Like, huh? I was like,
worth it.
Yeah, I was like, okay. But yeah, I think really one of my last notes was like, overall, it's just like, it was an awesome pulp action adventure film with some like horror elements to it, which I kind of, you know, I miss a lot of this stuff. Like I was saying, like this was kind of like the last time I really remember movies being in theaters that was like the summer blockbuster that was actually fun to go see, instead of feeling like I had to go see something like Mummy was a movie that I wanted to go see because it looked interesting. Star Wars is a thing I see because I feel like I have to see it because I've seen everything else, and that's not how like movies should be. You know, it's like they're entertainment. They're not like, I don't know. It just because I had prerequisitely seen, you know, the original 3 and then the prequels, you know, I don't know.
Yeah,
I just miss the movies like
about
this.
Star Wars better. Yeah, I agree. It's a fun movie. I mean, it's like I said earlier, it's not trying to be anything more than an entertaining action movie. I did think it was a little bit on the long side. Like maybe they could have cut out one of the action sequences.
There was a couple things in this movie, and surprisingly, none of the stuff where they were like figuring stuff out I felt was really that boring.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of like
some of the action scenes maybe went on a little.
Yeah, I kind of would like. That's when I would take time to write notes and look at my phone to write notes and stuff, was during some of the action, so I might have missed some of the stuff, but it was like, you know, it's random
that would be my biggest
fighting shit. But yeah, that's really my only complaint. I'm trying to think if there was really anything else about this.
Well, I had one other note. This is a pretty obscure criticism, but at one point, towards the end, Brendan Fraser asked Rachel Weisz, like, "Are you all right?" And then her brother is like, I'm fine. Or like, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And then he's just like, okay. And that made me think, like, in a movie that came out now, you would have someone explain that joke. Like, not sure. Oh, you meant her. Oh, yeah. And then, you know.
Or that would be every joke.
That's the style of humor.
Yeah.
Now, as opposed to just, like, a little throwaway thing that's funny.
I mean, even that probably would just be in every movie, like, multiple times, because that was probably, like, the only joke that I didn't think was super funny.
Yeah, I mean, but it didn't, my point is, it didn't comment on itself. Like, a lot of.
Like we're doing right now?
Yeah. Well, like we did on our famous commentary.
We need to do actual commentaries. That would be legit for movies. We'd have to do movies that, well, we could do any movie, but
Not King Kong Lives.
Well, I mean, we could. We would just have to both watch it here and then just be like, fuck you, find your own copy.
pay $60 on eBay.
Yeah, if you want to listen to this commentary and it makes sense. No,
I wouldn't do that to the Buddy Boys.
You wouldn't.
No.
You sicko. So, you have anything else to say for yourself?
No.
You Moomy lover?
It was good to watch. It was good to think back to that magical summer of 1999.
When you had the shits every day.
When
Once
I
you
was-
ate at Taco Bell.
So afraid of Y2K coming.
Were you actually afraid?
No.
I was like... I was more afraid of Y2J coming. He's like, break the walls, bam, I'm like, holy shit. But yeah, I think let us know if you want to see us actually do commentaries. I think that would be kind of fun.
Yeah.
So I guess that's what we kind of do with this, but we would do it throughout the whole movie. Because that's what a fucking commentary is.
I would remain deadly silent.
You're silent the whole day. It'd just be like how it is on the like every podcast. You don't say anything from now on. I'm
Like Penn and Teller.
oh my god, dude, you got a face for radio. So,
All right.
that's the end of
Nailed it.
this one. But we have yet to say what our next film's going to be. Is it my pick? So, I actually have two that I'm kind of debating on here.
Should we flip a coin?
I don't know. I kind of want to. I'm gonna like propose it to you, both of them, and you kind of like let me know what you think.
Okay.
I have another one that I'm definitely gonna do eventually. But like it's one of those things where I don't have. I'm not ready for it yet.
Okay.
But I was thinking either The Frighteners or Cruel Jaws. But my only trepidation on Cruel Jaws is like that might not be super easy for people to get a hold of to watch. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Actually, I guess I could check on Just Watch and see. Is that what you're doing real quick to see if it's available?
Well, why don't you check, and while you do that, I did forget one thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll talk about Roger Ebert's take.
Oh yeah. I'm so glad that you remembered that because I usually ask you.
This is gonna probably just infuriate you more, but
Well, it usually does.
so he liked it. He gave it 3 stars,
Right.
and just kind of like us said, it was just a fun,
Right.
entertaining movie that wasn't boring. And
Yeah.
but the funny part is, he keeps comparing it to Congo. And Roger Ebert loved Congo. Like, he gave Congo 4 stars.
Out of 4?
Yeah. And he keeps saying, like, this movie, it's not quite as good as Congo, but it's almost as good as Congo. It's just so funny, like, every now and then he'll latch onto a movie that most people don't like Congo. Although, I think we should watch Congo, because it's got tons of apes.
Well, if you wanna fucking nominate it, I'd be more than happy to shit all over it again. So Cruel Jaws is only available to either rent from Amazon, so it is available to rent.
That's good.
Or you can watch it with ads on Vudu or Plex. So it is available. So
Readily available. Let's do Cruel Jaws, because
because I just got that DVD, Blu-ray.
the Frighteners is kind of similar to Mummy, so maybe we wait a couple weeks on that.
There's
one.
too many. There's like Brendan Fraser's in it.
There's CGI nonsense.
There's
happening.
ghosts in it. Just like this movie.
One of the ghosts is a mummy, like the old man, kind of.
But none of these mummies are ghosts.
But I've been wanting to do like a so bad it's good movie for a while. Like, kind of wanted to do King Kong Lives.
Yeah.
So we'll have tons to talk about.
We almost got there with Tusk,
Yeah.
but it was just so bad it was bad. It's actually not that bad. I just keep every time you bring it up, I'm just like I gotta fucking say something.
I mean,
I
didn't argue it was a great movie.
You start turning into a mummy. Obada.
Start turning into a walrus.
So the reason why I keep looking over here is because Matt has this really awesome fucking was it floor to ceiling fucking King Kong poster, and I just keep which one is that from? What movie is that from?
The remake.
The remake. Okay, so like the 70s one,
Yeah.
or okay, the one that's readily available.
That was like the original artwork which he doesn't actually look like that in the movie. Like they made him, they
Yeah.
wanted to make him look more like a monster,
Yeah.
and then Rick Baker was like, "No, let's just make it look like an actual gorilla."
The real monster is man.
That's true.
In both King
Beauty
Kong
killed the beast,
and in most good zombie movies.
but who killed the beastie?
King's Island. Actually, I think that's still up, isn't it?
I don't know.
It's Beast Jr., right, that died? Or Son of Beast.
Yeah, son of a beast.
Son of Beast Jr. So Beast Jr. would be the Son of Beast, but there is no Beast Jr., right? There's just the Beastie, the Son of Beast, and Beast.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Let's get out of here.
enough of this horse shit. Next week, we're doing Cruel Jaws. And then after that, whatever you pick, so.
All right.
Are you ready for the Jaws to be cruel?
Yes.
Okay. See you guys later.